So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Career Tech Challenge. I'm joined by colleagues at Coventry University, and we're going to talk you through ways that you can make a big difference to your career in this increasing world of digital and online work. So my name's Chris Winter, and I'm the head of studio at Coventry University Online. In my career to date, I've worked in the manufacturing sectors, the educational publishing sectors, and more recently in the higher education sectors. I'm going to introduce you to each of my colleagues in turn, and we'll start with Tara.
Hello, I'm Tara Hawes, and I'm project lead for the Career Skills for the 2020s course. I've had quite a few different careers throughout my career, starting off with being an academic in my home country of New Zealand, where I used to teach communication skills. I then taught English in Japan for 3 years, and then came to London, where I worked in publishing, marketing and communication departments, and then found my way back to higher education. For the purposes of a career skills conversation, I think it's also worth saying that I've worked in a number of different roles over the years as I put myself through university. So I've worked in bars, managed lots of bars, worked in libraries, and also my passion is music. So I've put on lots of music events and promoted lots of festivals. So that's a bit more context about me and my career.
Great, thank you, Tara. And Rachel, how about you?
Hi everyone, so my name is Rachel Wilson and I'm a digital platform officer at Coventry University Online. I myself joined Coventry University Online in July this year, so I'm a friend of anyone who is also looking for a new role during the madness that has been 2020 and might sadly follow us a little bit into 2021. I'm probably one of the most digitally focused people on the panel today, having worked most of my working life in various roles using online tools and technologies. I started off in an internship working on social media for a sports and exercise medicine company and have worked in a load of different places since then across websites, general marketing, video and film production, photography, in a whole sphere of different areas, and now I have the joy of helping build courses for Coventry University Online, which is great fun. So looking forward to getting stuck into the conversation today.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Laurie, how about you?
Hi Chris, hi everyone. I'm Lorena Moredo, a research engineer at the Institute for Advanced Manufacturing and Engineering at Coventry University. My background is manufacturing, mechanical and systems engineering, where I sit at a manufacturing metrology team within the AMA. I'm involved in several industrial and innovative research projects, and one of the areas I'm focused on now is on people-centered productivity, and that's where we want to improve businesses' productivity by deploying technologies that will enhance the capabilities of the people, because people are a key to any business's success. So we primarily focus on skills development and novel research that can improve how people can use their capabilities within manufacturing sector and across all the sectors as well.
Thank you very much, Laurie, and everybody. So we know that developing digital skills are increasingly important in this modern world of work, and the coronavirus pandemic has particularly emphasized this. So many of you will be working in sectors perhaps where you've not had to use those skills so much as some of us on the call today, but we're here as a group of experts from Coventry University to guide you through that and to advertise the course that we've got, Career Skills for the 2020s, which aims to demystify that and give you some useful tips so that you can market yourself in a way that employers are interested in. We know that a lot of people will be have been made redundant because of coronavirus. We know that people may have been furloughed. Also, you may have been working for a while in a particular sector, but actually need to kickstart your career and to move on and to become more digitally focused. So the course aims to look at those skills and to demystify this, to give you a much better chance of aligning yourself with the changing world of work in whatever sector you happen to be working in. So a number of skills we talk through on the course, but there's some debate about which skills are the most important. So I'm going to invite my colleagues to each in turn talk through the skills that they feel are important for you to develop. So Rachel, let's start with you.
Thanks, Chris. I just want to talk about the importance of digital skills. So we live in an increasingly digital world, and the coronavirus pandemic has only accelerated the rate at which we use various digital platforms and technologies in our day-to-day lives. I think we're now heading to a point actually where it's unavoidable to communicate with other people digitally, both in our personal lives, but also in our working lives. I think in any role, you are going to come across a level of digital literacy that is now required, be that the sort of work that I do in maintaining websites and using kind of online platforms and technologies, or be that at a different level, you still need to be able to master your emails and your email etiquette. You need to be capable of working online and doing file shares and working collaboratively on online documents. So it's an increasingly important area, and it's also a really accessible area to work on because you can do it from wherever because it's on the internet, which is amazingly accessible everywhere. Additionally, digital skills and knowledge make you really flexible. It's something that can be worked on in a variety of different sectors and industries and jobs, and I know I've found that personally in my working life so far. Be that working on websites, apps, you could work in the education sector. A really good example in recent years is customer service is predominantly online now, whereas 10, 20 years ago, you would have phoned someone to talk to them about your energy supply or your water bill. 9 times out of 10 now, people are reaching for their phones, they're emailing, they're messaging people on Twitter. So there's a whole sphere of places that you can get involved in, and it really can take you anywhere. So I think that digital skills open a great number of doors for people, and it's a really excellent opportunity to get in at the ground level and build your way up and learn on the job and learn as you go along. So that's why I think it's a really important skill, and that's why I think it's a really useful thing that we cover on our career skills course.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Yeah, very comprehensive. Tara, what digital skills then do you think, or career skills do you think, are important for individuals to develop?
Well, as a former English teacher and communication lecturer, I really do believe communication is the key. It's the glue that holds all of the other skills together. So, for example, whether you're ordering a drink in the pub, or whether you're on a Zoom quiz, or whether you're trying to do a tweet to a railway because your train is late and there's an issue, you need those basic communication skills to be able to function and to be able to get your message across. So I do think during the pandemic, this has become even more important than ever. As Laurie said earlier, people are the key. But if you can't communicate with your people, then you're going to have some issues and you're going to have some problems. In the course, for example, the career skills course, we really talk you through every aspect of communication. And we really also identify the fact that it's something that you've been learning since you've been born. So with a few simple tricks and tips, you can build on your communication skills to become far more effective, whether it's in your personal life or whether it's in your business life. And for exactly those reasons, one of the business communication skills I helped write in my home country of New Zealand was one of the most popular courses that we'd done for years, simply because people from all over the country were doing it to hone in their business communication skills, communicate better at work, and then go for the promotion and the extra benefits that good communication can give you. Something else I was going to add to that as well is during the pandemic, I think there have been some queries on the course itself as to, why are we learning about communication during a pandemic when everyone's at home and they're working by themselves. But again, I would argue it's more important than ever. All of the recruitment communications have gone online now. So to actually find a job and apply for a job, you need that specific communication to be able to do that. And in terms of applying for jobs online, again, you need to be able to write a good covering letter. And you also need to be able to do like this. You need to be able to communicate on Zoom calls, and you need to be able to even record yourself and send that over for some job applications these days. So yeah, I would say communication is the key, but it's also the backdrop to interpersonal skills such as emotional intelligence and resilience, which again are more important than ever during the pandemic.
Thanks, Tara. So yeah, we're really adding to the skills now. Laurie, what's your take on this? What skills do you feel are really important for people to develop?
In a scenario that we are moving so fast in the pace of change, in terms of systematic challenges imposed by COVID, a pandemic that is new to everyone, and you link that to the fast pace of technological changes in an environment of work or actually personal as well. We say skills such as the intrinsic skills to the people, to a human being, are innovative and creative thinking. Those are skills that cannot be easily mapped or translated into robots or automated systems. So those skills that can put anyone in front of any problem in uncertainty or in changing environment, that can people can use their past experiences and combine with any resources available to develop solutions that can be cost effective or can be a way to solve a problem in a manufacturing environment or in a personal environment. So innovative and creative thinking, I believe they are tops, one of amongst the top skills for career development because they are required in a daily day-to-day job. And that's what something that cannot be easily automated in terms of if you have robots working with robots where the work is moving towards human machine interaction, the presence of the human will always be required for some decision making at certain level. And that requires that you understand, you can use your past experiences and collaborate with systems to come up with different ways of solving problems. So I think these are skills that are deeply required and that align to the adaptability that we have to understand the context we are living in and where it is moving forward with all the advancements that we cannot just ignore them and learn how to become more adaptable, how to ask the right questions so we can stretch our brains in terms of thinking how can we use, why can we do, how can we do it, and use the resources that we have available to come up with solutions. That's what where companies primarily will be looking for an employee to have the ability to adapt and to solve problems using innovative thinking that is independent of the change of uncertainties. They're able to come up with solutions for the problems that they face and to be acceptable in terms of understanding the changes and the needs and the big picture of what's needed.
I was just going to chime into some of what Lorena was saying about the importance of skills that can be developed and can't be automated, because that was part of the point of the Career Tech Challenge. It was coming up with ways of teaching digital skills and soft skills such as communication and interpersonal skills and problem solving for people who were at risk of automation. So that was very much the ethos behind the Career Tech Challenge in the first place. And then, of course, the pandemic has opened it up a lot, so that the Career Tech Challenge is now aimed at people that are furloughed and also at risk of redundancy or have been made redundant because of the pandemic. So it's, as Laurie said, it's certainly accelerated things.
The world of work is becoming more automated. Technology is having an impact in all sectors. But by considering these elements that we're discussing today, that should put you in a position to make a unique difference and to have a compelling offer for that job. So what we're seeing with high levels of redundancies, partly caused by the pandemic, but also by the advance of technology, is a real challenge for individuals. How do you stay ahead of that curve? And I think particularly having just gone through the pandemic and the effects of it still being felt, it's very much on people's minds. We're all working at home here on this call, for example, as we're recording it this afternoon. But at other times, we may be in the office. You may be working on a factory floor, but distance from others. You may not have been into the office or workplace at all for months. And this can be very challenging. How do we all get back into our places of work? How do we use technology? There's a lot of this talking to camera like this, but what else can we do to put ourselves in a good position to face the challenges that lie ahead? So the course is broken down into nice bite-sized steps to make it easy for you to do if you're busy working, busy after hours with I don't know, maybe school activities or caring for family, friends. The course is there for you to study at your own pace and to use whichever platforms, machines, computers you're comfortable with for studying with it. And it will be supported and you will be very much guided through the course. So no need to fear, it's there to help. And one of the features of the course is that we pose questions for you to think about, big questions. And one of those questions, which I'll ask my colleagues to answer in a moment, is how can you try and develop these skills during a pandemic? Because that's really hard, isn't it? Or is it?
So in terms of digital skills, I touched on this a bit earlier. They're a really great accessible skill to work on during a situation like this. I think the first hurdle is motivating yourself to do it. I know certainly when I've been having difficult times during this pandemic, perhaps the last thing you want to do is open the internet again and see yet another thing on the news about something else that's gone wrong. But push through that. And there's loads of things you can get involved with online. A really good example is our career skills course, which is a free online course to help you develop those digital skills. But there are lots of other places that you can learn to, other courses. There are a lot of places that offer things such as social media training, for example. So if that's the sort of thing that you want to learn and develop, have a look and see what's available online and what's out there. Another really good thing to do is just practice it for yourself. So in the course, for example, we touch on how to use LinkedIn and how to use social media professionally and to your benefit in terms of finding work. So make a profile, start looking at what's out there, look at what jobs are there and the sort of people that you can connect with and connections you can make. Being active on LinkedIn will be a really good tick in someone's box to show that you know your stuff and you know your way around these sorts of websites and platforms. So that's a really good thing to do. I also wanted to touch on, you might feel like you can't approach companies and people while they're not open and just ask them questions, even if they're not advertising. But actually, I think there probably hasn't been an easier time for a social media executive or someone who builds websites or apps or someone who just manages a business but is doing it remotely from home. Whatever area you're looking to get into, there probably hasn't been a better time for them to sit and have a cup of coffee with you, because all they have to do is this. They just have to plug you in on Zoom. They've not got to drive somewhere and meet you at a coffee shop. They've not got to carve a great deal of time out of their day. And actually just reaching out to someone and saying, I'm really interested in a job in this sort of area. Would you have time to talk to me and help me figure out where to get started? It's actually quite an easy, accessible time to do that now, because they can just pencil you in for a video call and they've not got to leave the office or do any faff to do that. So I think there's never been a better time to just reach out and see if anyone will sit and have a chat with you. I know that I've learned a lot over the years from talking to people in jobs that I've aspired to eventually get. And it's really, really helpful just learning what their first steps were and where they started and what sort of places you want to be looking for, and just what you need to Google to find a job in that area can sometimes seem a bit mystical. So they can be a really great source of knowledge in those sorts of areas too. The last thing I wanted to say was just practice makes perfect. If you are on furlough, or if you're not going into the office as much because your office is operating in a COVID secure way and you can only go to the shop floor or wherever you are set days of the week, use that extra time wisely. Practice your own personal online presence. start, learning your way around Excel or Microsoft Word or things like that, and just start trying to practice and understand things better yourself. You'll find that from your day-to-day experience of living in this online year that we've all lived in to some extent, be it for grocery shopping or whatever it's been that you've been doing online, build on those skills in yourself, and try and take it the next step further. Okay, I know how to do this and this. Let's learn to do the next step in that chain. It's a really great skill that is accessible to anyone, and you just need to take it one step at a time. And like I said, practice makes perfect. So those would be a few ways that I think you can really make use of that extra time that we all have at home this year.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Rachel. Laurie, let's come to you next. What do you think people can do to make a difference?
Yeah, I think Rachel raised very important points, being motivation and practice. I think that's with the pandemic, at least you can manage better your time. If you're at work, you may be at capacity, but if you are on furlough or if employees have been furloughed, for example, you'd have much more time you can dedicate to upskilling. And besides being motivated, I think you just have to look at the context and the extra pressure that you have on people right now, on who have the jobs. I think the key now is really upskilling, is going onto the resources like the career skills for 2020 is a great starting point, because it will help building resilience, building motivational, building emotional intelligence skills, besides communication and problem solving skills that are essential for the period the transition that we're going through now towards a more digital world, if you can say it. And to keep up with speed of change in environment at work, with home office, or whether at the workplace with the new adoption of new technologies, it's really about taking the step further beyond the comfort zone and put yourself up to learning, up to improving your skills. And whether they are soft, they're digital, they're technical, you really have to manage your time, your motivation, and your just take that take that step and find the resources that you need and put them to completion. It's not about starting identifying only. You have to go through the process of groundbreaking and getting new knowledge inside you, and make you thinking more on how you can that defines how you can take control of your career moving forward as well. Because as you learn, as you start seeing things differently, and this is one of the ways you can put yourself out there and bring some novelty to personal and professional life. Um, Companies now is a great opportunity to recommend those staff that are not currently at the workplace, for example, and push them to use the resources that we have available. And the career skills for 2020 is a great option to start with, upskilling their workforce through the process of soft skills as well as some digital skills embedded to the new ways of working with us moving forward through the pandemic and after pandemic. The pace of change is becoming increasingly faster, and we must understand that as an opportunity to become better, to evolve, and to make the most of what technology, of what the new environment have to offer to us. But moving forward, that learning, upskilling, and being open-minded to new knowledge, to new ways of thinking, it really is the way forward.
Thank you very much, Laurie. So yeah, well, I think we're seeing a variety of approaches, not all just being digital, but some of those very human skills that really impact upon us and our use of technology. Tara, I wondered if you've got any thoughts around this area.
Yeah, I guess building on what Laurie and Rachel have already said, it's been an incredibly tough time and an incredibly brutal time for a lot of people. But the move to doing everything online does come with some benefits. So I can't think of a better way of learning online skills than by doing an online course. And It's also an incredibly good time when we're stuck at home to think about building those personal networks, as Rachel has said, you know, get onto LinkedIn, get onto Facebook, Twitter, have a play with Instagram, because it's the perfect time for developing and building those social networks. And it's through those social networks, we know you're just as likely to get a new career opportunity or a new opportunity to learn something completely new. And that doesn't happen every day. You know, if you're usually spending 2 or 3 hours a day commuting, for example, that's all time you could be putting into actually learning a new skill or studying online. So we've specifically designed the career skills for the 2020s course with that in mind. So the first week you're doing a career skill, a skills audit, where you actually look at your own skills and decide which ones you think are the most important and which ones you want to build on. And also thinking about what motivates you, because that's going to be different for everybody. And we also encourage people to keep a learning log throughout the course to reflect, because as Laurie has said, you know, everything is changing so quickly. And even in the space of the 4 weeks that you're going to do the course, you're going to change. And that's one of the most interesting and rewarding things about it, I think. Seeing where you were at the start and seeing where you might be at the end. So week 2 of the course is all about communication, which I've touched on earlier. And we really focus on things like recruitment communications, how to contact employers, and also how to create your own video that you might need to apply for a new job. Week 3, I think, is really interesting because we talk about the key concepts of adaptability and resilience, and also emotional intelligence. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but some people now say emotional intelligence, or EQ, is just as important as IQ. And throughout the pandemic, we've also been talking a lot more about AQ, or the adaptability quotient. And I think that's becoming increasingly more important as the pandemic goes on, because we're all reacting to this in very different ways, and having that empathy and that emotional intelligence to be able to listen to people and understand their situations, because everybody's situation is completely different. We're all reacting in different ways, and having the skills to be able to listen and understand and communicate back to people is just really important at the moment. I don't think that can be understated. So we've really tried hard to get some of that going in week 3 of the course. Then week 4 is very, very practical. You're writing covering letters, you're getting feedback on covering letters, and you talk through doing an online CV. So even if you've already got a CV, I think now's a good time to really think about what is it you want to do with it. And if you've never done one before, if you don't have an online CV, then this is definitely the course for you. So I would say if you've got people in your team, or if you know anyone who's been furloughed, please do send them the link to the course. And especially if you've got people in your networks who've been made redundant as a result of the pandemic. Because I think, I hate to say this, but it's not going to get any easier for the next few months. And we all need to look after each other, support each other a bit more. And I really think the kinds of networks we're building with the career skills for the 2020s course is really going to help with some of that, even if it just helps a little bit. So we already know from some of the tangible student feedback we've had from the first month of the course, people are using it and getting empowered to find new roles. There's one guy who's found a new job, which I was just so happy to see. And the feedback's been absolutely fantastic. You know, people have never studied online before. They've never had to write a covering letter before, and people have done a CV for the first time. So, you know, the proof is in the pudding, and we really are doing what we say we're doing on the tin. Just one more thing, I won't go on for too long, but something we really do need to talk about is the fact it's a sponsored course. So once you've signed up, you get indefinite access to all of the content. It's not something that gets taken away at the end of the course. So you can dip in and out, you know, if you do have a bit of a dip in confidence and motivation in the new year, you can always come back to the course content when you do find yourself in a situation where you do need to do a CV or apply for that job. And you also get a free digital certificate, which can be easily added to your CV or to your LinkedIn profile to prove that you've done this learning at this difficult time, because that's something we know employers are really going to appreciate. in a couple of months' time when we've all had our jabs and things are moving back to normal again.
Thank you very much, Tara, and everybody. So I hope you found that to be really interesting. The course is very suitable for people across every sector and is designed to really give you a boost, give your career a boost. You can expect to put in 3 to 4 hours a week, but that is very much up to you. And when you do it is up to you. So it's a very adaptable course designed specifically for people who have busy lives, people busy working or caring, supporting friends and family. Please jump on and register today, and we look forward to seeing you on the course.